last week at Lime Rock Park, things went sideways. Literally. But the crash isn't the worst part, because now we may be serving a penalty in our next race starting from the pit lane. See, one of the rules that I've set requires me to give myself penalties if I cause a crash. So today, that's what we're going to find out. If I'm starting from the pit lane at Road Atlanta, or if this incident was just a racing incident. Welcome back. So, here's the situation. Last week at Lime Rock Park, things were a little messy, and it's going to bring us face to face with what will become the very infamous Rule 2. Now, depending on how you interpret this rule, I'm either an innocent victim involved in a racing incident, or I'm completely at fault. And if I'm at fault, I'm starting from the pit lane next week. I can't look at this crash objectively. I'm too close to it. So I have a plan for us to solve this case unbiased. But first, we should probably break down exactly what Rule 2 entails. And then I have a friend who's agreed to review the incident with me and tell it to me straight if I'm completely at fault or if it's a racing incident. Then after that, we'll get the verdict. And finally, I was lucky enough to get a little bit of coaching from him. And he's much better than I am. He's 4,000 iRating, so hopefully we learn something from this incident, whether we're guilty or not. Now, the rule's fairly simple, and it's not much of a rule, just more of a saying. Pain is the best teacher. So that means if I cause a crash, then I give myself some type of penalty. And if it's very obvious, like I completely miss a braking zone and shunt someone into the shadow realm, well, immediate drive-through. But if it's something less obvious, we'll relegate the penalty to the next race we do, and we'll get some unbiased judgment to determine if we're at fault or if it's just racing. Now, the rule seems pretty clear on paper, but when you're going 100 miles an hour, clear goes out the window very quickly. I've watched this incident back probably 50 times, and sometimes I see a racing incident, sometimes I see a pure mistake. But my opinion doesn't matter anymore. I needed a judge, jury, and executioner. So I shared my screen with my friend, and he's definitely not afraid to hurt my feelings, and he also very much knows what's an accident and what could be avoided. So here's his breakdown of the incident.
There's definitely more you could have done there to avoid that accident. I mean, he didn't leave you much room to play with, but you also could have taken that line tighter. But there definitely wasn't any malice a part of it. I think it's just one of those incidents that happen at low iRating. But I think it's more of a racing incident, especially with that little bit of netcode there. And the contact that didn't help anything. In real life, I don't think this contact would have resulted in anybody spinning.
Okay, that's a huge weight off my shoulders going into the next race. But luckily, my friend noticed some, we'll call them bad habits in my driving that led to this incident in the first place. It wasn't just bad luck, it was all technique. So here's his advice to keep the car on track and keep me out of the steward's office.
But, that being said, moving forward, things that you can do is if you go before turn-in, you've got a full car width in between you and the other car there. And the more on the inside that you are, the harder you make every corner on yourself. In just the odds that you're going to wash out wide, which is what you did a little bit here. If you go right past the first apex in this corner, you see that you came in so narrowly that you basically had nowhere to go except into him. You also did miss the apex there a little bit as well. So definitely always do yourself a favor and get as close as possible to the car in the braking zone, because it'll help you avoid incidents later on in the corner.
Okay. Yeah, I'm also noticing now, like, there isn't even really contact. I'm sure I would have eventually hit him, but
Yeah, I mean,
Netcode definitely did.
if Netcode didn't kick him out so hard, I think you guys would just rub there a little bit. But again, just things to take from it is give yourself more room to turn in on the inside. Just you came in so shallow that it's hard not to wash out into his line.
So we have a verdict, we've learned a lesson, but racing isn't just about being the fastest, it's about being able to finish smartly and cleanly. So now I know exactly what I need to work on for the next round. So if you want to see if I can actually pull off a comeback in the next race, or if I crumble under the pressure, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you on the grid.